an event over in Belgium, believe it or not. Ambassadors of the various signatory countries were present, along with dozens of distinguished guests. It was organised by Belgian MP Michael Freilich, and he joins us now. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. And tell us, what motivated you to organise this event?
Well, I think that the Abraham Accords really marks a historic peace agreement between Israel and its Arab nations, but I think that it's not something that is limited or should be limited to the Middle East only. I'm a member of parliament in Belgium, but I'm also a member of the Jewish community, and I must say that since the signing of the Accords, we have seen the fact that various communities that in Belgium sometimes live at odds with each other have also found a way to engage and connect. And some of the examples that I've given today as well at the conference was the fact that the ambassador of Morocco was present last month at the opening of a synagogue in the city of Antwerp, and that a few months ago I had the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates visit an ultra-Orthodox Hasidic synagogue, and he lay a wreath at the Holocaust Memorial in Belgium. So those are all things that would have been, unthinkable of a couple of years ago. So my point was, let's explain to Belgium, to Europe, to the European Union, that the peace accords between Israel and various Arab nations is great for the region, and the region needs peace. But let's also look how it can make the living together of communities in Europe better. So that was really why I wanted to bring all of these parties round the table and ask the European Union not just to be a bystander, because I have the feeling now that Europe is watching what is happening and is not engaged actively enough, is not encouraging it. And this was a message from within the heart of the European Union, from the Belgian Parliament in Brussels, as a message to all of those European politicians that they need to get actively involved in promoting the Accords.
Well, what kind of reception have you had from the EU? Because the EU, of course, has been very heavily involved in the conflict here for many years, but their official line on the Abraham Accords has always been pretty lukewarm. The EU has promoted the idea, hasn't it, that there must be peace between Israel and the Palestinians before Israel can develop any ties with other countries in the region. Do you see that attitude changing at all, given what's been happening over the past 2 years?
Well, no, indeed. I don't see the attitude of the Europeans changing at this moment. They're focused only on the issue of the Palestinians, which, don't get me wrong, it's a very important issue and it must be fixed. But we all know that we're stuck in a very long and complicated conflict. We have Hamas, a terrorist organization that on one end doesn't accept Israel's right to exist. We have Hezbollah on the border, threatening Israel at the same time. We have Iran meddling in the same in these affairs. So instead of saying that this conflict can take the entire region, hold the entire region hostage, we should take those examples, such as the peace with the United Arab Emirates, with Bahrain, with Morocco, with Sudan, as proof that peace is possible between the Jewish nation, the Jewish state, and Muslim nations. That has been proven to be the case. So I think that we should show the European Union that we have to engage with the Palestinians, but that doesn't mean that all of the other nations in the region should also be held hostage by this. And the peace that we have since the signing of the Abraham Accords, this has been an amazing, a warm peace accord. I visited Dubai a couple of months ago. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see ultra-Orthodox Jews, to see kosher restaurants opening up, synagogues. I mean, this is not just a cold peace between nations and between politicians. No, the peoples from both sides have embraced these accords. There's trade, $2 billion we heard today of trade between Israel and just one of these countries, the UAE, and then you have Morocco and Bahrain. So many positive things that can come out of these Abraham Accords. And my belief is that within Europe we should engage much more with all of these parties and see how we can make sure that these peace accords will move on to make the entire region a better place.
All right, well, let's hope other European politicians listen to you talking about the Abraham Accords. Michael Freilich, Belgian MP, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Good evening.